Okay, you're live on YouTube.
Thank you. I'd like to call to order the Architectural Review Committee. Today is March 25th, 2021, and it is 6:30 p.m. And I will now take a roll call of the ARC members. Nancy Jorgensen,
Present.
Paige McMahon,
Present.
Deborah Oakes,
Present.
Carol Marsh,
Present.
Steve Sally,
Present.
and I am the chairperson tonight, Bernadette McLeod, and I am present. We have three things on the agenda tonight. The first being the Wild Water Collective, 56 Main Street, Unit D, represented by Mariah Fidalgo and Emily Mandriola. Would like to present an application for a new business building sign. And who, Mariah, you're here tonight?
Yep, it's just me tonight.
Okay, all right. Well, would you like to just present your application to the board?
Absolutely. Thank you all for your time. My name is Mariah. We're opening Wild Water Collective right next to Ramsey's on Main Street, and everyone should have a packet with all of our hopes and dreams. So
What kind of business is it?
Yes.
yeah, so it is a artisan collective, and what that means is we are going to have clothing and accessories and gifts, but all either handmade or sourced by different artisans that we know. And we're working with a women's collective in Oaxaca, Mexico.
Great.
Nice.
That's nice.
Yeah, so I
And,
make all the clothing, and my partner sources all of the items from Mexico.
Great. So your sign is going where? What was there before? Management company or something?
The last business that I know existed was the computer repair store. The building's been empty for a number of years.
Right. That's
Okay.
right. That was there.
I believe
And the
that was the
sign?
last business.
Okay, and tell us a little bit about the sign, the shape, the colors. Is it something that was the same shape that was there, or?
Yep, so it's actually exactly the same shape as the other signs on that business, and in our lease agreement, we're sticking to the shapes. So we're matching the signs that already exist and the location of the previous sign. And the colors are branding colors, but I gave you some paint swatches, but they're all in the retro field.
And what about a ladder sign? Are you going to have any other signs? Or you're allowed, I think, 3 signs?
Yep, we're just doing the one on the building.
Okay, and that's 14 by 72.
Correct.
Any questions from our board members?
I just have one. This is Nancy. I was just curious, Mariah, did you say it was in your lease that it required you to use that space?
Yeah, in our lease, it defined where we were allowed to have the signage and what shapes were appropriate to match, and it fit the description as I understand it.
Oh, okay. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
This is Paige. I was just wondering, you're limited with that sign. How are you going to let people know what is the collective, what you're selling in the collective?
Yeah, great question. So I actually am hoping to do some vinyl on the window itself, but we haven't made any decisions about that. But if that is allowed, that is our hope.
I think that is allowed, and it's not considered a sign if you say clothing, fine art, collectibles. I think because I think that came up with the burrito place.
Next
they have
door.
a lot of signage. It's not really a sign with your logo or your business. It's just giving a description of what's inside.
Yeah, as it stands currently, there are old vinyl letters on there, so we're gonna try to clean and replace them with something better.
Great. When are you opening?
Hopefully mid-May, before Memorial Day is the dream.
Great.
I like the colors. The colors are great.
Yeah,
I do too.
yeah.
Any other questions, board members?
Nope.
No, I think it's a terrific business to have, to add to our walkable Main Street. Very
Thank
good.
you. We're very excited with the new sidewalk. We're really excited with all the new businesses down there. I think it's
Yeah.
going to be a nice little neighborhood.
Wonderful.
I'm excited about the collective from Mexico, the Women's Collective from Mexico. I think that's great.
Thank you. Yeah, we're really thrilled to be able to work with other artists and pay them appropriately and get them a different audience. It's really exciting.
Great.
All right, well, I will entertain a motion. We'll have 5 voting members tonight. Nora and Carol will not vote, but you're welcome to participate in any discussions. I will entertain a motion for the Wild Water Collective.
Paige,
Pete moves that we approve the application as submitted.
I'll second.
whatever.
All in favor? I'll do a roll call. Nancy,
Aye.
Paige,
Aye.
Deborah,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
and Bernadette says aye. Motion passes 5-0-0.
Thank you all so
Good
much for your time.
Good luck.
And good luck.
She needs to sign the form.
I'll email you, Mariah, the plan review report showing that it's been accepted by the committee. And if you could just sign it and send it back to me, I'll forward it off to the committee members.
Perfect.
you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks, Mariah.
Good luck.
That was easy. Next on the agenda is the Church of the Holy Spirit, 204 Monument Road, solar panel follow-up from November 12th, 2020. Applicant to supply a complete landscaping plan as part 2 of the original application.
Bernadette,
Dave,
it's
yes.
Paige. I'm removing myself from the meeting right now and will return on the next project. I'm a member of Holy Spirit.
Okay. You got that, Melanie? Paige is recusing herself from this. So we'll have, Carol, you can vote on this.
Okay.
Abe, are you available to present?
I am with you. I'm very sorry about this video. This would be my 3rd Zoom call of the day today, and I had no problem earlier. I've been in and out, and I can't seem to bring it up. I'm really sorry, but I am here and able to present.
Okay.
So what you should have there is a sketch and a description of the planned plantings that will shade the visibility of the array from the inbound towards Orleans route on 28 heading up the hill there by the church. That is the plan for now in terms of the screening. I know that's what you're most interested in. Independently, Brian has come up with a nice idea of micro clover to go underneath the array. Essentially, it's a year-round green, flowers white in the spring, doesn't grow high, will stay neat, and like I said, evergreen, and will allow the production that the church is looking for from the system.
Okay, well, Nancy has supplied us with a number of photos taken from the Route 28 side, and I drove down there myself. I'm sure some of the other members have gone by to take a peek. And as far as, I mean, do you want to present something more than this sketch? Give us a description, because the sketch is, in my opinion, is not acceptable.
I guess what we were looking for was the comments of from you guys so we could better direct where we would go next. Now that you could see where the array was. Essentially, it's a mixture of an evergreen and an arborvitae placed roughly 25 feet to the west end of the array that will grow and completely block that small window that you can see when you're coming northbound on 28. I'm sure like you guys have been by 100 times trying to figure out exactly where you can see it, what can be seen, what can't be seen, numbers of photos, even a video. It's approximately 2.5 seconds if you're driving the speed limit where you can see it. It is primarily the rear, the last row that's closest to the house behind the array that is mostly visible. But again, it's that mixture of an evergreen tree and the arborvitae.
Well, what do you mean by an evergreen tree? An arborvitae is an evergreen tree. I mean, what's your definition of an evergreen tree?
So
I mean,
something along the lines. Go ahead.
We asked for a planting plan, a professional or semi-professional planting plan, which includes the species and the size and the placement.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, that's basically what we asked for, was some sort of a professional or semi-professional plan, not just some X's. I mean, that we don't know how many plants, we don't know what size the plants are, we don't know the spacing of the plants. You know,
Again, so at that
pretty visible. It's pretty visible. It's not just the last row. I mean, I think that there needs to be a heavy planting all in front of that fence, that whole side of the fence.
I think you're absolutely right, and that's the plan, is to plant 25 feet closer away from the fence towards 28. So we're actually starting to climb the hill, so the plantings will grow and they will get in the way of the visibility. That's the plan.
Abe,
Okay.
this is Carol.
Hi, Carol.
You've planned to put roadies in there?
That was the original plan, and I know that there was objection from the board because you guys felt like that those wouldn't be suitable because of the direct sun. Obviously, that's why we've got the array there, because there is so much sun in that direction. That was our original thought, but that was kind of struck down.
Okay, so no roadies at all.
Again, the arborvitae and the micro clover underneath.
And no shrubs.
It is definitely the church intention to make this space, not only from the 28 side, but just in general, to beautify it. So that there is no question that there's going to be a concerted effort on the part of the parish to get that done, to make it just for their own sake. So it's not that long after the construction. There hasn't been a chance for anything to set in the ground. So it is kind of that broken ground there. But what I thought you were interested in is specifically what was going to shield that space, which is essentially from the speed sign there. There's also a telephone pole to just past. And again, that starting 25 feet from that fence, planting those thick green arborvitaes will achieve that.
May I comment?
Are they
Go
cone?
ahead.
Steve comments. First, my understanding is that this sketch site plan indicates that the screening will be at right angles to Route 28. I think we were expecting the screening to be parallel to Route 28, and I wonder if having it at right angles to 28 is better. I think in terms of the information on the plan, I'd have to agree with Bernadette. We would have to know which X's represent which. It's mentioned that there was going to be fir trees and arborvitaes. Again, a simple matter of making it more specific and having the size of the plants that are going to go in established, And I do like the I do like the representation of the playground. I think that it came out well. So I think we would also again want to have a date and an author's name on the drawing, and that would be what I would require to approve.
Mhm.
Bernadette, may I
Yeah.
ask a question?
Yes, you may.
This is Nancy Jorgensen, Abe.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, Abe. Abe, I walked around and I took some photographs that I shared with the committee. The drawing that you submitted with the X's on it,
Yeah,
it's not to scale, right? I mean, the playground there's not that much space between the playground and the panels when you walk.
yeah, there is, depending on I mean, at the front corner, which again is not really the visible part and not where the
Right.
planters would go.
Right.
That's a little tighter there. But as you climb towards the back corner of the playground where the railroad ties are, that's a set-in playground. It drops down below the level of the ground. There is a good amount of space there. And it creates essentially a rectangular area that goes, again, I sorry to keep saying it, 25 feet from the west side of that fence and starts to climb up.
Right.
Yep, and that very, very specifically there. And there are a few very small white flags that have been planted into that area.
Yes.
That represent the kind of line that they were considering, if you've seen that. I've got photos of that. Obviously, there are 3 or 4 of those white flags. It would be many more than 3 or 4 trees or to abut, but that is on the ground, a specific starting point for the shading.
And I agree with Bernadette, Abe, that we were expecting a professional, comprehensive plan. And also, if memory serves me right, we didn't object totally to a mixture that included rhododendrons. I remember clearly talking about rhododendrons would take forever to grow the height that they need to be. But to mix them in a lower areas is not so terrible, but that's why we were expecting a complete plan. And just one other observation I made when walking around.
Yeah.
If you stand at the corner where the sign for the church is,
Yes.
and I could send you this image, and you're really on the corner of Monument,
Yes.
and you look at the panels, and there's a giant green hedge. If you added some bushes to that hedge, that would block out all the panels from the view of Monument when you make a right-hand turn.
It's interesting that you bring that up. I thought as we were going into this originally that would be the point that would be of the greatest concern to the committee. So I know that Brian has talked about this, and I think there's an option there to put some heavy low-lying bushes there that would allow for some mitigation from that corner too.
Right.
To me, that's the place where it is practically, in particular as things green up and move in, most visible is from that corner as you're turning right onto Monument coming from Chatham.
Correct. And if you just added, some shrubs in there, that would, in addition to what you're talking about on the hillside. But we need height. We need names of plants. We need, more details than this. This is just.
Brian would like to speak. Brian Ridgway, are you with the church?
Yeah, my wife is here, Brenda Ridgway, and I'm Brian Ridgway.
Welcome.
The church is, I'm the chairman of the Building and Grounds Committee.
Great.
My wife is the warden, one of 2 which run the church. And I wanted to answer some specific questions that Carol brought up and Stephen brought up and Nancy. First of all, the trees that we had shared with Abe that we are planning to plant, which we think will work, is the Leland cypress. We've been talking to Namscachet Farms, which opens on May 4th. and they have a 15-gallon, and they're 7 foot tall to begin with. They grow 2 to 3 feet a year, and we're looking at putting 4 of them. If you look at the little sketch and look at the playground on the west corner of it, in an arc that follows Route 28, Stephen, you're correct that we should be in an arc following that hillside. We would put 10 feet apart a Leland cypress and then mix in another tree called the Thurgo Green Giant Abravite, which again is a 6 foot 15-gallon tree. So we're thinking of 4 of each. They have to be 10 feet apart because they get to be 30 feet tall. We would be cropping them hopefully at 15 feet. And I won't be around when they hit 30 feet because I'm 75 right now, and I don't think I'll be here for another 20 years, but hopefully it might be. So that was the idea, is that would block any view from north or south on 28. The corner point of where Nancy's talking about is a good point. I hadn't thought of that. We are also looking at in front of the fence. We have a black wrought iron fence that was put in. We were putting daylilies across that at the edge of the parking lot, so that'll kind of soften that look. And then my biggest concern is really more because of the slope, is erosion of the soil. And so we've had put jute down. Abe had jute put down.
Yes, you did. Yeah.
But we're still getting erosion of sand coming into the parking lot. So we're looking at something called micro clover, which is a 3 to 4 inch height evergreen. It's a green clover that stays in the area. It actually produces nitrogen for the soil for other plants. It attracts honeybees, et cetera, and it has a little white flower in the spring. So we were thinking of putting that in. We have to replace the stairway up to the rectory, which is the building we own on 28. And so I think we can go back to the grounds committee to, say about other bushes, Nancy, for that look, to see if we can block that view as you turn on the monument. Of course, everything is dormant right now. So there are bushes there that do leaf out during the year.
Right.
And so I think we wait till the spring anyway, because things are going to be coming back. The church is closed to the public. We don't have services there. We have to do everything by Zoom. And so we've been taking this year to renovate the place. It's basically 85 to 90 years old. And I think that we're on the right track. We do not have the landscape professionalism to bring certain plan to you that I think what you're talking about, that would be signed. I could ask Nanskepet Farms if they could produce something with the tree placement that would maybe satisfy you, but I just don't have a landscape architect that can do that. That's really a my generation issue that I think they need to take care of. I think that covers, I just wanted to answer those specific questions. So we have the 2 types of trees. They will go in at 6 and 7 feet tall. They will grow 2 to 3 feet a year, and there'll be 4 of each planted 10 feet apart. So if you look at that far left corner, the west corner of that playground, plant a tree, move 10 feet, come in 6 feet, plant a tree, and then alternate all the way up around to the top row, and that'll shield it completely.
But 8 trees, I mean, I have a row of Leland cypress, so I know what they do. And 10 feet apart is pretty far. If you want to really create a screening, it takes a long time for that to grow in. I think you need many more trees than 8 trees to screen that solar array. And I do know Russ Jenkins from Namscapet Farm. Has he been to the property?
No, because they're not open till May 4th, but I've called him to please see if he could come out and walk with me and stake it. I've been told a different number. I'm not a landscape architect. You give me a building and I can help you design it and figure out the stress loads, but I don't know much about landscaping other than I was told 8 or so feet is necessary because they get wide. If it's 6 feet, that's fine. I would rely on Mr. Jenkins to give me advice.
Well, I would recommend that. I mean, I'm sure he's working. He's not maybe open to sell the trees because they're still dormant, but he's a landscaper and I'm sure he's working. So I would encourage you to have him come out to the site, look at the site specifically, look at the slope, look at the sun, and then tell you how many trees you're going to need to screen that area, and maybe in between those trees or adjacent to those trees, plant something else softer, so you don't just have a line of trees. You know, usually people use those trees like we did. We put up a fence, we put the trees in front of the fence, and then in 15 years, the trees became the fence. So, you know, you stagger them in a way that it becomes a screening. I really think that you need some professional advice.
Well, that's why I have a call into Mr. Jenkins to call me.
Right. And then also, is he going to be planting the trees? Because you want some sort of guarantee that they're going to live.
Well, we actually have two landscapers working on site right now. One is Azinger Landscape, and the other is Prince Landscape, who is putting in some lawns. So we will have professional help to do that.
Okay, that's good. And do they think that the clover will survive in that soil? Or do you have to put down
We have to
topsoil?
put down loam on top of the sand first, and then they'll be hand seeded. Once it is germinated, we've been promised, well, we read an article out of University of Maryland that talks about how good the clover is as a ground cover and a soil holding. We've checked with people that have had this kind of an array put up. So
Mhm.
the advice from, the extension from University of Maryland on micro clover.
Yeah, great. I think it's, I think you have a good start. I think you definitely have a good start, and you just need to develop it a little bit further. And then I guess the next question is, will you wait till the fall to plant it? Because, you only have, spring and fall really to get plants in there where they'll get enough rain to, you don't want to plant in the summer, they won't survive.
What won't survive? I'm sorry.
The trees. I mean, you want to plant them. You don't want to plant them in July. You want to plant them, and do you have irrigation?
Well, the whole idea of the arborvitae and the Leland cypress is just like the red Easter, and I live on Herring Pond, and we put in 18 trees there, and we got them watered, and that was it, and they've done very well. If we need to run hoses to them, we can put on a temporary hose from the rectory down the hill on a timer. I'm worried about that. What I really think is getting Mr. Jenkins out and making sure that where we're placing them and how many are necessary to do the screening that satisfy your requirement is really the first step. In terms of, he could tell us, we want to put this, we're putting lawns in the next month and a half. So as soon as May hits and it warms up and we have a consistent temperature, we're redoing the back of the church, the parking lot, putting in new grass. So we're going to be doing a lot of work on the church before we reopen. And so I would expect that we would put in the micro clover under the panels this spring, not wait till the fall, because I don't want to go through another winter of erosion. That's my concern. Does that make sense? Does that answer your questions? I guess the next step is what I'm not quite sure how to do. If I can get Mr. Jenkins to help me with a plan as far as where the trees go and stuff, then I can resubmit that through Abe, and you can bring it back to your meeting if that satisfies your requirement.
I think that would satisfy, that would satisfy me, but I think you definitely need somebody to come out there and say you need 15 trees or you need 20 trees, to do the objective that you want to do. I think four and four trees, I personally don't think that's enough, but I would, I'm not a landscaper either. I just know what I've done on my own property for screening, and we put more than that.
I appreciate that, but I think we're also needed to show that we're only talking about a small window of observation from the street at 40 miles an hour. I mean, I've walked it and driven it, and I've been in that rectory and up and down. And I agree that we need to screen it because I want everybody to appreciate, we spent a lot of time on that 4-acre property, cleaning it up, getting the visual lines better, painting the church. So we want to be proud of our establishment there. And so, it's kind of a two-edged sword. We want to be a green neighbor to everybody. That's our mission. And our diocese mission, they encouraged us to put in the solar field to be less of an impact, but at the same time, we also want it to look as good as it can, considering it's a commercial solar field. So, you know, we're sensitive to that. We want it to look good. But
Brian, I'm sorry.
Go ahead, Carol.
Carol, this is Carol. I had just, and I'm sure when you're working with a nursery, you know, just if you go back to our discussion about roadies, and I'm sure you'll get much better advice than from me, but one of the things that I thought about is because of the closeness of the blacktop, I mean, that the plants will really have to be heat tolerant. I don't think a roadie would survive there unless there are very few species that could tolerate that kind of sun. But the heat from the road would really not, I don't think they would do well there. So I had that thought. But the other thought that I had was, and this is, if you have a few more dollars in your landscaping budget, I drive down Monument every day. And if you're facing your church, that upper lot on the back, on the left side, there's quite a view, and you have a house across the street. There's quite a view of the panels from that upper lot. And I think it would, you would get a much more aesthetically pleasing look if you could just, there's nothing at the back of that upper parking lot. Just a couple of bushes in there would really do a lot to not see those panels when you drive down Monument. And I'm not sure about the perspective from that house, but just a couple trees would really make it more pleasing from Monument. I don't know if you've looked at it from that perspective, but I was there again today and thought, gosh, if there were a couple of bushes there, it would really shield it quite a bit from the road, because it is noticeable from Monument.
So are you talking as you come up to the stop sign, looking to the
So
west?
if you were going in the wrong way, so if you're facing the church, there's the upper parking lot that's closest to Route 28. So if you were to plant just a couple of bushes at the back of that lot,
Right.
parking lot, it would really provide a lot of, it would be much more aesthetically pleasing, I think. You wouldn't see the panels, and it would really only take just a couple bushes, but I think it would make a big difference. You would not see the array nearly as much from Monument.
That's the, Carol, this is Nancy. I agree that that's the area I was trying to describe. There's already one green bush there. If that was extended with a couple more bushes right at that far end of that parking lot, it would block all the panels from Monument. You're absolutely right. It shows up in the photographs.
If you
Sarah, I can send you this picture if you like.
Nancy,
Yes?
this is Brian. Could you send me that picture?
Sure, absolutely. Can you give me your email?
It's Brian, Brian, period, Ridgway, Ridgeway at yahoo.com.
Brian.ridgway@yahoo.com.
That's it.
Sure, I'll send you a couple images, and they were shared with the committee. They were shared with the committee. I'd be happy to share them with you.
So Mrs. Ridgway is quickly writing down that note and suggestions. So
Okay, all right. You can see it. Carol's describing it. It's that upper parking lot. If you put a row right there, it
Right.
just blocks that whole view.
west parking lot that ends with our sign facing Route 28. Yeah.
Correct,
Yeah.
correct.
Okay.
Bernadette, I'd like to suggest that we ask for a written description of some sort of what we were just told tonight, because once we get the plans from the landscaping company, the tree provider, with all the details, I think that would suffice.
Yeah, and one thing I was thinking about, and it might be a good screening plant, Brian, is the inkberry. And it is a native shrub, and it's in the holly family, and it produces little berries that the birds like, and it is evergreen, and it can get quite large, because we had them outside of our office and they were huge. and we had to, we had to prune them back. But that might be a good, native shrub that could go there. I don't know how drought tolerant it is, but that might be something to look into. And also when you get Russ Jenkins out there to look at the site, it might be nice to interdisperse, you'll have a row of trees, and it might be nice just for the church in general to interdisperse something, on that hillside, like some forsythia or some, inkberry or something that, maybe would be nice looking from the parking lot, from the playground as well. Because kids are going to be down there and their parents are going to be down there as well.
It's going to help you with your erosion issue too. I was walking that hillside and yes, I would be concerned about erosion. The sooner you can get some plants in there, the better.
Deborah?
Bernadette, yeah, I just want to think about it. I know, can't recommend any plants. I know nothing, but it seems to me that I understand that, finances are an issue, but that maybe not a landscape architect, but there are certainly landscape designers. Maybe Namscake Farms is such a thing, I don't know. But a general plan for the front, the hillside, the whole area that includes major screening of the solar array, would be investment for you. And you don't have to plant it out all at once. You can do it over time, in different budget years where you could add, the first 10 trees and then some bushes, and then next year some more. But at least you'd have a plan, knowing what you need to budget for, where they need to go, and where you can address all of your issues. It sounds like, like in all landscaping projects, there are lots of issues here that you need to accommodate. I guess that would be my suggestion. The idea of, the picture with the X's, that shows 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 12 X's.
I mean,
clustered. I don't know what that even means.
Even Crocker Nursery, they have somebody there that will help you. I mean, I don't know if it's, free if you buy the plants there, or I would definitely call some of the nurseries, because I know that there are many
Agway does also
design services. So either if Namscake Farm can't provide, the design services, you could try someplace like Crocker Nurseries. You don't have to buy all the plants from them, but you could get, like Deb's saying, a plan, and then you can implement it a little bit at a time, but you have a plan, and you're not doing what some of us do, sticking stuff all over the property, and then it dies, or it's not well suited, it doesn't get enough sun, it gets too much sun. Just I think that would be a great investment. And maybe you have somebody at the church that can do that.
Well, okay, so that's a much bigger piece than what I was led to believe as far as the screening, but it's a bad idea. We actually have, as part of the building and grounds, a subcommittee called the grounds that Ann Pike Parrish is chair of, and Brenda's on, as well as other ladies. And they are involved in doing a plan for the whole 4 years over time. And, they're meeting and discussing, and, we have a little plot plan. We do not have a landscape architect that can draw stuff to scale correctly. But I'm hopeful that Jenkins or someone like him would be able to at least do the plan around the solar field, so we get your permission to move forward. But we are moving on to the whole site, because we have a lot of trees on there. We have very specific things that we're planted. We have a biblical garden. We have a memorial garden, where,
wonderful.
so, I mean, there's lots of stuff that go on, and we do have a budget. And right now we've exhausted this year's budget because we're going to be putting in lawns. One of the things is having a population of our age. I'm a youngster there, by the way, and I'm 75. We take care of it ourselves. We don't have the funds to go out and get a professional landscape people to come in. So we have garden parties. And we used to have 20 people show up, and now we have 8 to 10, and next year we might only have 5 or 6, I'm not sure. But so we're trying to change some of our plantings for lower maintenance and more environmentally sensitive, correct things that, you know, don't waste water and stuff like that. So it is an ongoing discussion. It is part of the building and grounds. And so we're excited that they're doing that. The first stage is taking the area behind the parking lot. There's 3 areas with lots of these Virginia creepers and all kinds of weird stuff that grow up, which is hard to weed. And we're putting in Cape Cod grass in there so we can lower the surface area. But I hear what you're saying, and we'll get Jenkins out there for a minimum, because I checked out his prices on his trees, and it seemed to me that a 7-foot tall tree to begin with is going to spread out pretty quick if they grow 2 to 3 feet, just like my red cedars did. So, but I don't know how wide they get. But we'll get that.
Pretty wide.
To you.
They get wide. Stephen, you had something to say? Steve?
Yes, I would suggest that such a plan could be done by one of the people in the church in their own hand by obtaining the overall site sewage disposal plan, which we have seen, and using that as a basis, and with the help of Mr. Jenkins, whoever, indicating on that town, it's in the town, you know, it's in the health department, indicating on that plan that's on file where things are going to go, how many of them there are going to be, and the other points, so that we have a specific plan that we can approve. I don't think it needs to be done by a professional. I didn't mean to imply that.
Thank you. I'll make sure that we get that. I know I can get that document. And I'll make sure that we get Mr. Jenkins out. And then when are you meeting again that we need to get this back to you so that you're in agreement?
Well, we meet every other week.
Okay, so this is, you know, this is what we call Holy Week coming up for us. So we're pretty well, I wouldn't want to say busy, but we have like 8 different Zoom telecasts out of our ministries. And so I would think that we could probably be back to you hopefully by mid-May. Would that work?
Sure.
What about yeah, May 13th?
Okay, we can shoot for that. You know, I just need
May
to get
13th,
this out.
and just, you know, by then, hopefully he can come out and look at the site and give, you know, he knows what to do. And then, you know, he might say, no, it's too hilly, you know, this might be better. I mean, I think somebody professional needs to look at the site and make an evaluation of what's going to work best on that slope.
You got it. I'll make sure it happens.
And I'll send you those images, Mr. Ridgway.
Thank you, Mr. Jorgensen. I appreciate it.
Not a problem.
So then we'll incorporate that into the plan also. So not only be the trees and the idea of the microclover, but also the blocking from the monument.
Or monument, right.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Any other questions for us tonight that we can act on?
I don't think so. So we'll expect you back, you know, by May 13th.
Okay, you got it. We'll work on that right away. Thank you for your time and patience with us.
And thank you for coming tonight. That you were very, very helpful.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so that's continued to May the 13th. So next and final on the agenda is the Town of Orleans, more solar panels. And that is at 19 School Road in Orleans. And that is being presented tonight by Josh Burnett. Burnett? Josh, you with us?
Yes,
Okay.
I am.
All
I
yours.
am. Yeah.
And he has video.
Melanie,
If you
jump
don't.
back.
Okay,
Okay. I do have a little presentation. So let's see if I can share here. How's that? Folks can see the screen?
so far so good.
Yep.
We see
That's
it.
great.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you all for having us tonight. Greg is also on from Tetra Tech, who is our engineering consultant. My name is Josh Burdett. I'm with Distributed Solar Development, also called DSD. And yeah, we are proposing a solar canopy on the bus parking lot of the Nauset Middle School. So I'll just go introduce ourselves real quick. Who is DSD? We're a BlackRock company, so backed by one of the largest financial management companies in the world. And we are a comprehensive commercial solar development company, in that we offer turnkey solutions for our customers. In this case, our customer is the Nauset Middle School District and the town. And we've developed a partnership with the Cape and Vineyard Electric Cooperative, and we have, as the town has, and we've responded to a request for proposal. And I'll get into another slide where we've highlighted approximately 12 megawatts of solar around the Commonwealth to this point. And most of our projects are small scale municipality type work. And we have solutions for rooftops, we have solutions for carports, garage tops, canopies, and ground mounts as well. But mostly in the Cape area, it's carports and rooftops systems. We've been awarded through RFP submissions with CVAC 23 megawatts of solar plus storage projects across the Cape. And those are in Brewster and in Sandwich and Harwich, Orleans, of course, Mashpee and Yarmouth. So pretty comprehensive geographical portfolio. And we'll see more projects hopefully coming out here within the next RFP package that's coming out this summer. And we have projects in various stages of development. There's 2 in Brewster that are being constructed right now. One's almost complete at the golf course and the driving range. There's projects in Sandwich that are under a permitting process, as well as being constructed. The one was just completed at the police department. And there's the Monomoy High School in Harwich that has panels on its rooftop. That was one of our projects. So again, reiteration that this project is based on an RFP from the town in conjunction with CVAC, fall 2019. So the project's been sort of in development stage since that point. It's a 425 kilowatt AC canopy system, and it's coupled with a 536 kilowatt AC energy storage system, which is a Tesla battery. It encompasses approximately 2 acres of the property when you factor in the square footage of the canopy itself, plus the trench path and the square footage of the equipment pad with the battery. And 100% of the power will either go directly into behind the meter, it's called, going straight into the middle school itself, or it will go in front of the meter, and the town will benefit from that via like renewable energy credits. So that's the negotiation that's ongoing at this point. We have a 20-year lease with the school. So where's this project headed? Tonight, we're at the Architectural Review Committee. Last week, we received formal site plan review approval from the Site Plan Review Committee. And we're headed to the Zoning Board of Appeals, once we receive approval from this committee, if that's in the cards, then we will move on to the Zoning Board of Appeals to receive our special permit. Eversource is an ongoing communication and with the school district and the town as well to make sure the contracts are underway, make sure the financials are in place. The design is already in place, which I'll show in a couple slides, and the school district actually chose that design. And then, of course, reaching out for a building permit. So I don't need to spend too much time here, but we already had a site plan review approval. Some considerations that the committee and the department heads had were lighting compliance, maintaining site access, system design around the existing conditions. There's a lot of subsurface utilities at the parking lot site, which include, not only a stormwater system, sanitary system, and a nitrate remediation system. So there's a lot of considerations subsurface at this site that we've taken into consideration and been working with the school district on. We also have, stormwater considerations to take into account, which we have provided and has been approved by in the site plan review. There is a transformer and a battery energy storage system that's surrounded by fencing for safety, of course, and further coordination with the fire department for specifics on specific equipment that's going to happen even into construction. So there's some other design criteria that might be applicable to this committee. This is a WT canopy design that we like to call it, because the rooftop has sort of a W looking shape, and it's like a crest trough formation. And it's a T because the entire structure looks like has a single column footer and then an expansive sort of steel beam across the top of it. The point of interconnection location, of course, that's still an ongoing process, whether we're going to go directly into the school or directly into the grid. We're retrofitting into the existing conditions of stormwater, so there's no additional permanent features that are proposed. There's geotechnical evaluation associated with the subsurface conditions. And then the structure height kind of serves itself for its own security. And then there's going to be fencing proposed that are on the ground systems. We'll see a couple photos of that. And, setbacks, other things, zoning, all those kinds of things. So you see a couple photos over to the right-hand side here. The proposed equipment is there's going to be monocrystalline solar panels that everybody's familiar with on rooftops, on residential, same sort of thing with anti-reflective coating. This top photo over here to the right-hand side is actually the Sandwich Police Department that has a canopy system over its parking lot now. And it's not a WT system. We call this like a monoslope 9-high system where it's not a W, it's just like, a flat roof. That solution worked best for that site. But you can see the steel racking that goes up from the concrete footer on the bottom. There's posts that come up. There's a beam that runs across the top for structural stability, and then the modules are placed sort of on a steel grid on the top of the roof. As I mentioned before, you can kind of see in the top photo as well, there's inverters that are mounted at least 8 feet above the ground on the column. And there is a transformer that is proposed on the site, which is right next to the other transformer that's already on the site in the northern part of the school. And the battery is a Tesla Megapack that is the bottom photo here. So this is what the battery is going to look like. And this is going to be located in the western part of the school. You can kind of see that from this proposed layout. So on the left-hand side here, we have the canopy outline in this hash. And I just showed this to show the location of the battery on the western side of the school. Nothing is currently at that location. There's a photo, I think, within the packet that shows kind of the vegetated area prior to the forest on the western side. That's where the battery location is. And then there's the canopy on the right. If you come over to the right-hand side here, this is where the canopy outline is going to be. And we'll see in a couple of slides here some renderings that I think were also provided in the submission package. We'll bring some context to what this looks like. But in terms of dimensions, we're looking in coordination with the fire department. Again, we have a 14-foot clearance height, and that's at the post level. And as you can see, as you come out to either side, whether it's east or west, the clearance level actually rises. And so, that was adequate enough for emergency vehicle access to come around and through this parking lot. We have a maximum of about 18 feet on a high side of the modules. And you can kind of see what I was saying earlier in terms of the WT, right? The roof has a W kind of crust trough formation, and then the T is the rafter and the steel column. So this is a rendering, I think it was provided in your package, looking south within the parking lot. Again, show this configuration. We actually presented several configurations to the school district. And this configuration was actually chosen by the district to be the most conducive, not only to the current site conditions and existing site conditions, but to be the least intrusive in terms of footings and columns and things like that are, strategically located within the vegetated island, and then, allowing for clearance around the outside of the system as well. Here's another rendering that we have, rendering number 2 from the south looking north. And you kind of get a sense of like the scale of the site, right? From just you're standing approximately 40 feet from the system at this point. It's about 240 feet to Elk Ridge Park. So you can kind of see that the scale of the site. Thought this would be appropriate for this committee. We do paint our canopies. We work with towns and our customers to provide that aesthetic solution. The left side here is a less favorable condition, actually. And talking with the planning department, they had kind of tipped us off that they thought anyhow that this committee and others within the town would like a darker option. And so the new steel paint is on the right hand side, which is this charcoal gray color. This paint is our best value. It's actually pretty economical, and it holds up to weathering the best. This paint only comes in 2 colors. The other paint is just like a regular outdoor Sherwin-Williams paint. But the steel paint is actually made for steel specifically for these kinds of outdoor purposes, weathering in the saltwater area on the Cape, all those considerations. The steel paint would probably be our best option here. And, so I wanted to provide this visual of a charcoal gray. There's also a black, but in our experience, the black tends to really show. It's like a car, tends to really show a bunch of scuffs and, if something rubs up against it, you might show that kind of thing. So this gray is actually our best option. So I wanted to know the committee's thoughts on that. Here are a couple photos of some similar projects. This is actually a WT project that we built in Branchburg, New Jersey. And so you can kind of get a sense, this is an unpainted system. So this is all galvanized steel. And so you can see that the columns are galvanized and the rafters are galvanized. There's not much that we can do about the actual, fascia and the module structure themselves, but certainly the more visual components in terms of the rafters and the columns can be painted. Going back to Sandwich Police Department. Similar structure here, except for I stated earlier, it's a monoslope structure. But again, you can kind of get, as it's a similar magnitude, you can kind of get an idea of the scale. This is a project that's under construction at the Brewster Driving Range. This is a different style canopy. This is called a long span canopy, where it's more of like a carport. But just to give you a sense of being underneath something like this, even though there's a lot more light that's going to be let in, natural light that's going to be let in with the Nauset Middle School system. and the Harwich rooftop. There we go. That's all I have. Love to take committee questions and comments.
We're struck dumb.
Yeah, no. Could you, this is Paige, could you remind, I know it was in your documents, but what's the anticipated production? Energy production?
Yes, the energy production is 400. Let me just get the right number for you. 425 kilowatts.
And that'll go right into the schools.
That's what it's proposed right now. That's the way it's proposed to Eversource, and we're negotiating still with Eversource and with the town in order to square those things away. But either way, whether it goes straight into the middle school or straight into the grid, the town benefits financially from the project.
Oh, right, of course. Great, thank you.
Sure.
Josh, this is Nancy Jorgensen. Just curious, when it rains or snows, or where's the runoff going from this canopy? How is that handled?
Yeah, good question. So the WT system actually has a gutter. It's actually it's a snow and ice management system. And it kind of double serves as a rain management system as well. So each trough within that WT has a gutter that runs along it, and it's pitched a certain way that is going to mimic the existing conditions at the site. So we'll have a square footage number of the existing conditions that go to a certain catch basin. We try to mimic that condition just up in the air. And so we'll have multiple downspouts running down the vertical steel columns and just running onto the pavement surface and being captured by the existing catch basin systems to try and mimic those existing conditions.
So the water is going to pour off of this down a pipe and into the parking lot. Is that what you're describing?
Down several pipes, just like your house would. Yeah, like
And
your
into
house,
the
your
park.
housing gutters. Yep.
Okay.
When you, I have a question. This is Bernadette.
Sure.
When you said that the only part that's going to be painted is going to be the post and the iron T, and then the rest is just the pan. That's just what it is up there on the top.
Yeah. So there's a galvanized finish kind of around the panel edges, and then there's the modules themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it's just the big post that sits on the concrete footing, and then the T.
And the rafters. Yep.
Painted the gray.
Yep. And now we can also do, the gutter downspouts. The gutter downspouts are default galvanized, but we can work with that. If it's desired that it's we want aluminum gutters that are going to be painted a certain color to try and match the steel at paint or something like that. We can work with that.
Yeah. Well, that'd be a good idea. I mean, and has anybody looked at how much runoff? I mean, that it's not going to be because I think it does pool there underneath where the buses are, if I remember correctly. I think water pools in that area. It might.
Yeah, no, we've prepared a full stormwater management plan, and it's been provided to the site plan review committee. Yeah.
As far as
when would you do the construction? Over the summer? When would you actually construct this?
That's an excellent question. That's my job. No. We're really hoping, that we can start construction once school gets out. Yeah, so we're gonna have to, like I said before, navigate through the zoning board of appeals. So we're hoping to wrap that process up at the end of May here. So that's our preliminary schedule.
Well, it would keep snow off the buses too, correct?
Yeah, the gutter system is actually primarily a snow and ice management system, so you don't have, snow and icicle buildup and all that kind of stuff being fallen on people that might be walking around or your vehicles, right? So that's the primary purpose. It does serve the secondary purpose for, rain that would fall on the modules as well.
Right.
Josh, did you mention if the fire and police review the plans already?
Yep.
And
I don't know about the police department. The fire department has been involved this entire time. Yeah.
So as far as getting the trucks down there and no problem.
Yeah, we provided the fire department, well, the entire committee, a swept path analysis where they provided the specs of our truck, and we ran our trucking CAD around the parking lot and played a little video game, and it was accessible.
Okay.
Josh, I have a question. It's Carol. Will the island that you go by before you get to where the buses are, will that island stay and the tree will stay?
Yes.
Good.
It's Steve. I'd like to make three brief comments. A minor point in the renderings, the Photoshop renderings show 8 sets of panels, and the plan calls for 10. So it's actually going to be wider than shown in the renderings. You want to be cognizant of that kind of thing. And then secondly, this is a project that's urban in scale, industrial in scale, and it's something that we're going to be getting much more involved in. Obviously, the Holy Spirit thing is a peanut compared to this. It's the array itself is 32,000 square feet or something, I think, Josh.
That's correct.
3/4 of an acre. So it's big. We understand why we're doing it and why it's important. And then I'm not too concerned about who's profiting. I understand that you lease the space from the town, and then how does distributed solar, how do they make money off of this?
Well, it depends on, it does depend whether we go directly into the school or we come outside, but in some fashion, we get a cut of the credit that comes back, under the incentive program, under the SMART program.
And then my last comment was, are those the only colors available? I mean, after all, it might be well to consider something more decorative.
No, they're not actually. And if you asked the town of Brewster, we went through a whole slew of colors that might be available. And we can provide that information. I feel like sometimes it might be too much information. I would argue that the Steal It paint is the best product on the market right now. Especially in terms of you're looking out 5, 10 years, 20 years where this project is going to be still standing. But yes, there are other colors available if the committee desired that. You would need to consider more options.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
I have a question about the battery pack things, the Tesla
Yes.
battery.
Yes.
In the photo that you showed where they're going to go, are they going up against the building? Are they freestanding? How big is that battery conglomerate? It's huge, isn't it?
It's provided on A100. which is in, I believe that's in your packets as well. So that's a dimensional plan of the area. So yeah, it's 22 feet wide by 31 feet long. So it's a sizable pad.
And then did you say there's a fence around it also?
And there's a 7-foot tall fence around it. You know, we don't want kids getting inside of the electrical equipment or near it. So yes,
Right.
there is a fence directly around it.
And was that a black?
So
um,
it's freestanding.
It's freestanding, yes.
And so how far away from the building is it?
I think that's still kind of under negotiation because of the current electrical configuration still being slightly into question. But it'll be set back from the building. You know, I don't know if there's a building code or fire code requirement to that, but
Right.
you know, there might be other
Will
considerations
you
there.
will you see it from anywhere public? I mean, it's on the
No.
side of the building and.
You
and
won't see it
it's-
from the east, that's for
And you're
sure.
not gonna take any of those trees down, hopefully, that are in the picture?
No,
It'll just be in that grassy area?
that's correct.
This-
There are several subsurface utilities that run through that as well. So, you know, we have to just make sure that those subsurface utilities are avoided because we don't want the pad sitting on those either. So those are some considerations.
Will it provide 100% of the electricity for the school?
It's very close. It's very, very close. Yeah.
Is there electricity coming from the panels that we already have in town at our town dump? Is that where they're getting their electricity from now? The middle,
I don't know how the town's meters are configured.
okay,
Probably several meters, and I don't know if they get, you know, renewable energy credits on applied to certain meters or how that project's configured.
okay. Bernadette, whatever color we decide, and I like the charcoal, I also like the idea that it has a better lifespan than the other paint. I think that's going to be important. We don't want peeling paint 5-10 years from now. But I would also like any of those downspouts or any of those other pipes or whatever might be coming down those columns also to be painted the same color.
Yeah,
So they disappear. Otherwise, it's going to look
Right.
like a mess.
Okay.
I don't know how the rest of the
Okay.
committee feels, if they agree with me, but it should be all one color.
I agree.
I agree.
too. And I like the charcoal gray, I think actually would be the least
Offensive.
exclusive. When I think of this as a giant carport, like, do we want our buses covered and a giant carport? No, okay, but as Steve said, just trying to wrap my brain around this really
It's going to be huge.
Huge. Yeah.
thing. On the other hand, you know, we want solar power for sure. I just have to ask the question. I'm sure there were lots of good reasons, but there's a huge roof on the middle school. Was that not
That was,
a good
to
option?
my knowledge, that was not a site that was considered within the RFP package from CVEC. Now, that might have been from structural reasons. I don't know.
That could be.
My kiddies really want to participate tonight.
That's the major factor for rooftops systems
Is what?
is structural stability. Yeah.
Oh, okay. All right. And we don't want to build a new middle school right now. So okay.
No, we have
Right.
I guess
Oh, no. Oh, no.
this is better. All right. I just had to ask.
No worries.
Any other questions from the committee and there is some lighting that you gave and that's on the underside, the lighting?
That's correct. Yep.
So that's like a solar light? Is it solar? I hope.
Well, it's it's not directly, it won't be directly like, coming from the panels, right? It'll come from the meter that the school is on, but that's tied in together.
But it's tied into the panel.
All right, well. Any other questions, anybody, or anybody would like to make a motion to accept the proposal?
I move that we accept the application from. Yeah, I'm trying to see the name of the company or the applicant's name.
Tetra Tech?
Thank you. Thank you.
So the applicant, can I just interject? I'm sorry.
Sure, go ahead.
It's the applicant name on the architectural review application should be the one that's recorded.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
It's Mass 28 Solar Project 2020 LLC. It's its own
LLC. Okay.
entity
Mass
name.
28 Solar Project 2020 LLC. Presented an application and we approve it as accepted with the understanding that the vertical support will be painted with charcoal gray, and you could insert that, help me with the brand of paint that we're talking about.
Steal it.
Steel it, okay, paint. Steel it as in STEEL?
Yes.
Okay, steel it, Melanie. And steel it paint in the charcoal gray, and that any vertical downspouts, conduits or whatever is metal, vertical medical, I don't know, is all painted the same charcoal gray color. Anybody want to add to that, or?
Anyone want a second? Do I have a second?
Oh, I'll
I
second.
second it. Carol,
Carol seconded, Melanie. All right, let's take a vote. All in favor? Deb,
Aye.
Paige,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Nancy,
Aye.
and Bernadette says aye. Motion passes 500. Okay,
Very
good
good.
luck.
Hey, thank you all. We totally appreciate your time tonight.
Thank you.
Alrighty.
Thank
you.
Melanie will send you a form to sign, Josh.
Okay.
You send it back to her, please.
Yeah, that's great. Melanie, if you send it to me, send it to Greg. That's all in the same. I think
Oh,
Greg's
both
been
of you guys, both you and Greg?
Yep.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
thank you.
All right, good
Good night,
night.
all.
Good
Good night.
night. Great job, Greg. You really did a lot
I
tonight.
know, I helped. Took notes. I did the important part, took the notes.
Thanks
Have a
all.
good night. Have a good night.
Hey, do you
Good
want,
night.
you want these plans back? What a waste.
They're
Yeah.
gone. I know, we really don't need, I guess there's some way we've got to communicate that if they're presenting a packet of 48 pages, they don't need to necessarily send these as well. I mean, a building plan with to scale elevation views is important, but not 80 pages of details. That it's a waste of paper.
Do they want these plans back? I hope.
I don't know. They went off. I think we should collect them and maybe return them. Melanie, should we return them to, and they could be used for the zoning board meeting? You could let them know, just
Yeah.
send them an email that says that they'll be at the town, hall, and they can be, reused when they go to the zoning board meeting.
Just tell them to take them.
Is your,
Have those
Melanie,
pen rolls.
Melanie, is your box still out there?
I brought it in, but I could put it back out.
Yeah, if you put that box out, then we could drop our
Yeah.
plans off and
Right,
reuse them. What a waste.
yeah.
Or at least they could be recycled, because I also have some of those Penrose plans that nobody picked up, that there were extra ones of that, that Penrose
Right.
thing. So, I mean, maybe does the town recycle paper?
You hope so.
I
You
hope
should
so.
just shred it and put it in the shredder. That's what I've been doing.
Okay. All right.
Actually,
Well-
I've been reusing some of the old packets and taking my notes on them. So actually, I reused some of the packets as note paper.
That's good.
That's what I've been doing.
They're going to
Yeah.
the Board of Appeals. They don't have, they could use this again.
Right, they could if they're for the ZBA.
And maybe the
If they-
building
if they-
department also
if
can
they
use them.
know, I mean, it's a different probably place where they get delivered. But anyway, maybe you could send them an email
Okay,
and just ask them if he would like them recycled. We can
Okay.
leave them at the town hall, and then they can be distributed to when they go to the ZBA, but who knows when
Okay.
that's gonna happen.
I'll email Greg. I can email Greg, and I think I have Josh's email as well.
There's just one little bit of information, and I have emailed Melanie and Ada regarding this that we have spoken about, is that we are not going to get any packets before the Tuesday before the meeting, so that there's not a waste of
Right.
paper with agendas being printed and then added to and then re-added to, so that there's
That makes sense.
and there's too much paper. And
Right.
and also it will cut down on how many times you have to run over to the town hall. So,
I'm sorry about that. That was my fault. I didn't realize we were getting another applicant on Tuesday. I'm sorry.
right, but we
That was
No.
my
we
fault.
can get
That's
applicants,
not-
right? We can
Melanie,
get
how
applicants.
would you know that? You wouldn't know that, but that's the schedule we
Okay.
always followed
Okay,
for Tuesdays.
So,
Okay.
whenever the cutoff is, right after that is when the packets and the agenda should go out. So that, I think is the cutoff Monday or is it cutoff
the cutoff
Tuesday?
is Tuesday at 4:30.
And then the meeting is Thursday?
Yeah,
I thought she was gonna change that.
I thought she did too, but
You
that
can
it
just
was
let us know,
impossible.
Mel.
With
On
that,
this-
it was
On
impossible
this
for me
new
to.
application, I thought she did change it. She has it now submitted 13 days prior to the meeting.
Yeah, somehow.
I think that might be for a preliminary and then a final. But we need more time.
Right.
So maybe the cutoff can be Thursday. If the cutoff is Thursday and then the packets are put out Tuesday. I don't know, should I talk to
Yeah.
Ada about
Yeah.
that?
Maybe talk to Ada about that because it was impossible for me to get home by 4:30, redo the agenda and get the packets out. Like
Right.
it just.
No, that's-
it was
The
impossible.
issue has to do with publication of notice in the newspaper and when you have to get your stuff in.
Mhm.
So it should be the Tuesday before, in the week before. the
Yes.
meeting.
Because I submit the legal ad to the Cape Cod.
And then it
And
comes
they-
back.
They have to have it by
Friday.
Monday at noon. The deadline for that is Monday, yeah.
Right. And then the
So the-
agenda would be published on Friday.
right.
And
Right,
all that has to happen it's the Tuesday, the week before
Before.
our meeting.
right.
So on the Tuesday of the week of our meeting or the Monday, we should be able to have our
Packets.
packets.
That's what I was
Monday.
hoping for.
Monday or Tuesday, I mean, whenever she gets
Yeah.
them out. But is it right now, is the deadline the week of our meeting?
No, it's the
No,
week.
it's the week before.
It should be the week before.
But it's not, you're saying?
Well, somehow this application came through on Tuesday and I was running around like a nut trying to get emails out to
Maybe
everybody.
it was because it was a continued,
I
That
don't
was the
know.
one from,
but it
That
should
was
have
the
been on
one-
the agenda.
that was
It
the one
was
from,
from My Generation Energy.
because we told him he had to come back by March 25th. So he just assumed he was already on the agenda, but that shouldn't be an assumption.
No. He said he was
Okay.
asked, he said he was asked by the ARC to come to the meeting, was the email
Well,
I saw.
I sent him an email saying you were supposed to come back
Yeah,
by March 25th, not come back March 25th.
oh, I see.
So they
I
just
see.
threw that together and put some X's on their plan.
I know.
Anyway, all right, so it's the week before, so we shouldn't
Right.
have this problem again.
Yeah, I think we need to talk to Ada because there was no, like, that was crazy this week. And I apologize, sorry for all the emails.
Whitewater wasn't originally on the agenda either. Wasn't that? There was
Who?
the first agenda was just.
Oh, yeah, the first agenda was, all I had was, the first agenda was just the middle school.
Yeah.
And that was what was advertised in the paper. Then Ada says, wait a second, Wild Water Collective just came through, but that legal advertising wasn't required for them.
Right.
So,
They had a sign. There was just
right.
a sign.
Yeah, that was just a sign. So I got that emailed and scanned and over the weekend. And then, yeah.
Okay, so I'll just send her an email saying if anything comes in and it's not the week before, it goes to the next meeting.
Right.
Yeah, we don't want you having to run around like that and
That was insane. I probably have so many gray hairs from that.
hey, there's nothing wrong with gray hair. Don't knock it yet.
You don't know.
Hey,
gray
I
hair.
think I want to go silver. I think I would love bright, shiny silver hair.
Don't knock the gray hairs.
No, I know.
Melanie, it'll come soon enough.
Yeah, they
I
can.
know. I know. Yeah, so this was crazy. I shouldn't have, like, I should have said, Ada, we're not having this applicant. But when the way I read it was ARC asked me to come before them, and I'm like, oh, okay.
Well, I did ask him why he hadn't submitted anything when he said he would. So,
Okay.
so now we told them that they have to come back by May 13th, but if they don't apply,
Right.
and put in
In a timely manner, right?
they would be on for the time after that. They're not.
Okay.
We're not going to thrust them in because we said come back by May 13th. It's just not going to happen.
No.
So I think that was just a glitch in there because I was the one that contacted him and said, "Weren't you supposed to come
Right.
back?" So,
No worries. No worries.
you know, they weren't going to come back.
No, they're just gonna do their crappy landscaping plan and then like
so-
on.
We are on
We're
YouTube
broadcasting.
right now.
Okay.
All right. Any other business that we would like to discuss as a group?
Oh, the minutes.
Oh, the minutes. Okay. What did I do with the package?
For March 11th, Mel?
Yes, minutes from March 11th. And let me see, it was 10 yen and the preliminary for the Cape Cod 5 development.
And feedback. It's Paige. I moved approval.
Okay,
And I don't know how you do these minutes. You do such a good job.
You really do.
thank you. I really try. I love learning like downspout. Who would have known what a downspout is? Like it's like all these terminologies. It's pretty cool. Okay.
Oh, I will second the motion.
All right.
Thanks,
All right,
Deborah.
on the minutes. We will vote on the minutes. Nancy,
Approved, agreed, anything.
Paige,
Yes, I agree.
Deb,
Aye.
Stephen,
I approve.
and Bernadette. Aye. So the motion passes 5-0-0.
And I just have one question on
Yes.
the middle school vote. Carol is an alternate and she seconded. Is that allowed?
Sure.
Sure, just put Carol seconded. Yeah.
But she was an
Yeah.
alternate, she should have been
Yeah.
voting. Can I
It'll-
just,
She can't vote, but she could second.
she
right?
can second, she just can't vote. Okay, okay.
I mean,
Wow,
I
I'm
don't know.
being elevated.
So that, I have one more little piece of business because I forgot this, that Melanie wrote to me and asked about an awning that they would like to put up at the Rock Harbor Grill on the back patio. So it is an awning, a sun and rain awning. And she was wondering if they had to come before us. And so I did write to Tom Evers, the building commissioner, and asked him, and he said it was up to us whether an awning was something that needed to be approved by us or not, but it was something that was you needed to pull a building permit to put an awning up. So I am going to rule and say we need to approve the awning.
Good.
What do you guys think?
If it needs a building permit, then yes.
Right,
Yeah,
I
and
think it's a real short discussion, but I think we should not give up our right to approve those.
Right, just in case it's neon green or something. So
Exactly.
he will submit, Melanie, the color. He doesn't
That's
have
what I
to-
asked for. That's
He
what I
has a
asked.
swatch. If he has a swatch, it's probably a umbrella fabric or
Right.
something. And
I don't
and
recall
then-
approving the awning, the blue awning for the Academy Place restaurant.
He said it's going to be the same one matching La Bella Vita. It's going to be the same
Okay.
awning.
I don't recall that anything was said about that.
No, I don't think it was either. And I don't know, we can look back and see if we approved the awning for VERS, because they put up an awning, and we did approve the deck.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
We approved the
deck.
deck, but, and I think he did supply pictures of the awning. He was gonna do a permanent roof structure, and that might have been what we approved, and then he did an awning instead because it was cheaper. And then he
Right.
went out of business.
Then he went out of business. By the way, Bern, for the committee, the Toast to the Coast is coming back.
Yay!
No, but it's a new business.
Oh.
So it's another sign.
Oh, who bought it?
It's a different business.
Oh, it's not, that was a good restaurant too.
But my
It's
point
something
is,
else.
it's a
No, it
different.
was sold.
It was sold.
Oh, all
Okay.
right.
Yeah, I saw this for sale sign was taken down.
It's some kind of Cape Cod gastroenterology or something like that. I did get an email about that.
Okay.
Cape
What is
Cod-
it? Cape Cod what?
Cape Cod, I think it was from Ada. It was called, it's, now I don't see it, but
Well,
it's
we'll
called
all
like,
be surprised when they come.
Yeah.
I know. Ruby's, is it going to be a restaurant?
yeah,
Oh, good. Good.
there's something on Penrose that's gonna come up again.
Oh, yeah, I sent that to you, Bernadette. They
Right.
emailed that to me, the updates to Penrose.
It's gonna be called Nauset Gastronomy Inc.
Really?
Gastronomy. Inc.
Astronomy.
Gastronomy?
Gastronomy.
It
Yes.
is.
Astronomy?
That rolls right off your tongue.
Yeah. That's not a name I would have chosen, but
Yeah. Gastronomy. Anyway, that was from Ada, yeah. So, all right, so I don't know, we can look back and see if there were any other awnings that, I mean, I know there was the awning at the bookstore, but that was because he had his name on it.
Right, right.
Right.
I don't think the Bella Vita came for any awnings. I mean, that's kind of like, an awning isn't really something you should have to approve. Didn't the Nauset Grill have awnings?
Yes.
Anyone
Yeah.
remember?
Yes, it did.
He had awnings. So
Yeah.
maybe we should go back and look at his application when he put up his signs, Nauset Grill. I would say an awning is just a temporary thing, like a tent.
But if you need a building permit to put it up.
Maybe for the poles and stuff you do.
Signage on it.
Hmm?
I don't know.
This one will be on the back of the building and you won't see it at all. And it's just a cover, like to be a shade. It's not used as a sign. No one's gonna
It
see
might
it
even
unless.
be one that attaches to the building and comes out like a,
Mm,
it doesn't
I
have
don't know.
posts. Tom said it was up to us. I think we should research it, but if if he wants to come and bring a sample, that's fine. I mean,
Okay. Sample and pictures. All he has to do is show the pictures of what's at La Bella Vita if it's the same awning.
right.
And he said it was the
I think-
same with the
well,
same
they have
color
so
and the
much
same materials.
cover now. That was never approved, all that outdoor covering. I
Yeah.
mean, that's like that's a lot of covering. All those zippers, and
So do
For
you
the
want me to email Chuck and say, we'll be happy to have you come before our committee with pictures, materials and like swatches and,
Mahoney's has awnings as well.
who?
Mahoney's.
Oh, that's right.
I don't really think that we need to approve awnings.
If they need to get a permit, I think we need to stay in the process. If they don't
Okay.
need a permit,
Yeah.
well, then I would, I don't know, my gut tells me that we should just, for this one, it might not be necessary, but in the future it might be.
Okay.
I just get concerned about setting a precedent that.
I was thinking the same thing.
If you have a lot, like some of them, I don't know if La Bella Vita, you were talking about all the awnings, but some of this is temporary because they can't be inside.
Right.
Right.
I don't think we need to accommodate or, make them jump through hoops.
Right.
No.
Outdoor
Definitely.
dining right now that's being authorized temporarily
Mhm.
to accommodate COVID times.
It should
Okay.
be about a 3-minute discussion and approval.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. All right. All
I do
right. So
agree
I
with you, Nancy.
Pardon me, Steve?
I do agree with you. If a building permit is required, then I think that we have to take up the work of approving it. And a lot of those canopies, they're in a rigid tubular frame and are very permanent in that sense. I think the other side of the coin is, what if somebody sets up Cinzano umbrellas on tape?
Right. Right. Or what if somebody wanted to put one up that was pink and yellow striped or something? I mean, we would have, I don't think we want to lose control totally of
Right.
that issue.
Right.
all right. Sounds good to me.
Perfect.
So
I
the
move
next,
that we adjourn.
all right. All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Hi.
Right?
Aye,
We go all the way around.
aye, aye.
Aye.
Motion passes 5-0-0-0-0-0. Okay, the next meeting will be April 9th.
Yes.